Back in February, I was looking at some of the new Magic cards in Ether Drift. I saw this one and said, oh, who did that? Brian Chippendale. Who is Brian Chippendale?
And Brian Chippendale, an artist and musician, Brian co-founded Fort Thunder, the art and music hub, in 1995. He has toured extensively with his band Lightning Bolt and has recorded with musicians like Bjork and the Flaming Lips. He is the author of 3 graphic novels, and his artwork is in the collection of the Ritchie Museum.
That's Brian Chippendale in The Mask, playing drums in a band called Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt have been around since 1994, just about as long as we've been casting Lightning Bolt. The guy to his right is Brian Gibson, another Brian. A 2-piece band with 2 Brians. 2 brains. Brian Chippendale wears a mask for fun and for function in equal measure. This torn-up t-shirt has been stitched together around the receiver of a busted-up payphone and wired into an amplifier. His vocals are sing-songy shouts that echo, echo, echo through layers of effects pedals that he activates with his feet. The mask frees him from that awful locked position that can find drummer vocalists in other bands. Lightning Bolt is not like other bands. Lightning Bolt Live was something of a religious experience. Probably lost a decade of hearing. My earplug fell out mid-song at one of their concerts and it sounded like I was on the outside of a plane. I still can't believe this sound comes out of just 2 people. The low tone on that bass could tear a hole in the sky. Brian Gibson plays bass in Lightning Bolt, but not really. For one, he tunes it like a cello in intervals of fifths, and the 2 high strings are actually made for banjos, which provide a sharp treble for melodic leads. Gibson chooses them over guitar strings because they're long enough to stretch from bridge to nut. Like Chippendale, he also sends his sound through tons of pedals, a series of cheap stomp boxes, and shitty cabs and heads rated to 3,000 watts. For years and years, Gibson was repeatedly blowing up his rig on tours, and so he only buys the kind of stuff you can find everywhere, stuff that can be replaced in case of emergency, which is common because Lightning Bolt is a loud band that pushes a lot of air. Away from Lightning Bolt, the Bryans are prolific and hyperactive. They're always making it. Throughout the 2010s, Gibson worked alongside Mark Fleury to develop Thumper, a game they describe as rhythm violence. This project was a counter-response to the guitar heroes and rock bands that Gibson helped develop at Harmonix prior to his departure from that studio. Games that he disliked because they glorified rock stars instead of celebrating the communal act of music making.
For me, music is like, it's a social interaction with people. It's like a feedback loop. You're sort of communicating in this subconscious language, and it's mysterious. It's a path that you can go down through like repetition and rhythm and sort of lose yourself and go into another state of consciousness. And I have this idealistic view of what music means for human culture. It's a way that we get closer to each other and we lose our egos, and it's not about the rock star, it's about everybody together sort of having this shared experience.
Under the pseudonym Barkley, Gibson paints and makes comics and animations and browser games. In November 2025, he followed up Thumper with a kaleidoscopic arcader called Thrasher. He's also played in 2 other bands, the heavy metal outfits Megasus and the electropop duo Wizards. More recent posts suggest he remains tinkering with solo work, and it resembles nothing else in the quiver. Neither is Chippendale a stranger to a side project. He has produced 11 albums under his independent endeavor Black Pus, 4 with Mind Flayer and a couple of one-offs with Boredoms and Wasted Shirt. He runs his own screen printer and spearheads a clothing brand called FM Shingle. Like Gibson, he also draws and makes comics and graphic novels and enormous collages. I get the sense from listening to him speak and observing his work that he can't sit still, that he feels forever compelled to make it.
All the stuff I make is just a system to pull me deep enough in where I can get lost in there for a while.
At some point post-COVID, art director Jacob Covey contacted Chippendale and invited him to work on a magic card. His first was part of the super rare Secret Lair bonus series, 7 Dwarves, probably commissioned as a nod to the closing track from Lightning Bolt's Fantasy Empire from 2015. From this silkscreen print, he tore off a couple of the figures and repurposed them for the final ensemble, a vibrant assault of composite imagery. How you do anything is how you do everything, they say. Chippendale's second card, the first one I saw, was Whir of Invention, a name that could double as descriptor for the Brian's creative forces. Whir of Invention is an instant you can cast with Improvise that tutors out an artifact, and already you can see the parallels. Whir of Invention, in an abstract sense, has you repurposing energy into matter. It is the act of creation, of transfiguration. X equals whatever you want it to eventually be. Michael DiBenedetto Plummer whirred a few times last September and then won the Pro Tour. In order to make it, you first have to make it. Brian Chippendale has been called a mensch, a compliment that sounds like an insult. He plays the drums like nobody else in the world, without a hi-hat, and with the stampede of 50,000 elephants. Brian Gibson plays the bass like nobody else in the world. He believes music can be anything you want it to be, and he proves it. The majority of Lightning Bolt's performances for 31 years and counting were done without a stage. They were done right there, on the floor, in a sea of people, in a tempest, in the great exchange of energy, improvising and whirring and inventing, and pushing tons of air.